Hello, my name is Arthur, and in this video we're going to have a look at the project I'm working on and the changes that I've made to it. So in the last video we'd gotten the machine gun rotating on Y. Well, I have it fully functional now, but I've made some pretty big changes to script and the project that was a little bit more than I could do a video on. So it's a little too distracting to try to do a video and to make the level of changes that I needed to make to my scripts to get them going into the right direction, because they're going in the wrong direction, typing them out while making videos and being half distracted doing it. So we'll start off by having a look at what's going on. It's going to happen fast. The tank's going to shoot, bang. So that was done by the cannon, by the machine gun. It rotates pretty quickly, and some of the speeds still need to be changed, but it's able to aim up, return home, and yeah, all of the turrets have the ability to aim up and down and turn home, and they're clamped. So the main gun is clamped to, I think I gave it a 20-degree angle, and something like 40 degrees or 40 or 50 degrees on the machine gun. So we'll look at the change to the tank first. One of the things I had to do is I had to change where it was sitting on the y-axis, and I didn't change the kinematic body. The kinematic body is still where it should be on the origin. I did have to change where the body and everything else is, because when the turret's compass looked at an enemy, it wasn't looking at an enemy, it was looking at this tire right here. It was looking at this part of an enemy, which isn't a very good place to be aiming, right? So I elected to move the compass right to Y0. So how I did that was I just reparented the main gun compass. So I just picked it up, made it child of the kinematic body, then picked up all of the rest of the tank and made it child of the compass, then set the compass transform to a Y0. Then I reparented everything back the way that it should be, and this is where the tank ends up by doing that. And I did that for both tanks. So now when they're aiming at each other, and the compass looks at each other, it's not determining that the other tank is way down here, because the other tank isn't way down here, it's right in front of it. So there should be no elevation when they're facing each other, and that's now the way that it is. Other changes, I've reparented things a little bit. I've moved the machine gun timer to be on the machine gun. I've moved the main gun timer to be on the main gun. I moved the detect area to be on the turret, but that one's a little questionable, and I might undo that. I might make it child of the kinematic body, have it send a signal to the kinematic body, a signal to the machine gun, and a signal to the turret, because that might be the more sensible way to go about it. What the aim is to get the turret script and the machine gun script to be able to function not only as parts of this tank, but as independent fixed gun positions, because that's how any of my 2D projects was able to function. My machine gun and my turret for a tank, or the machine gun for a Jeep, was also able to be the script for a fixed machine gun or a fixed turret. So that should be able to do rockets or a flamethrower turret, or whatever kind of turret, fixed turret, a person sees fit to make, and the same with the machine gun turret. And let's see what else was done. I reparented the compass for the machine gun to the gun itself, and the pivot has been turned into what it is. It's just a decoration. The gun has the exact same origin. The origin for the two items is in the same place. It has the same, it acts exactly the same if this rotates around its y-axis as if this rotates it around its y-axis. So the parenting there was changed, and some of the parenting here is still questionable, like body, chassis, turret. It doesn't actually have to be that way. Body and chassis are really just decorations, like the mount for the gun is just a decoration. They're not functioning pieces or anything. So probably the proper parenting would be turret to tank, not turret to body. So that's just kind of a way of looking at things that's being too literal. And things, yeah, it's confusing things that don't need to be confused because it's looking at things too literal. Like the gun needs to be child of the turret, and the main gun needs to be child of the turret, but the turret does not need to be child of the body because the body is just a decoration. So there's still some parenting issues there, and they're not a make or break thing. Like the only thing they change is the length of an address, and a lot of those addresses aren't being used anymore. So let's open up the Abrams old GD and have a look at it. Like that's pretty lengthy, and if we looked at it, all of this and this and a chunk of this and all of this went a little too far there. Now we're just flying around everywhere. I don't know why it's acting that way. And all of this is part of turrets. Like these aren't vehicle things, and having them on the script for the vehicle is not the place to have them. So what I did was I made a copy of this GD and I just started gutting it. And I reduced the unit GD down to what it's supposed to do. So it has the things that a vehicle needs, because this isn't a gun, this is a vehicle. So it can be selected, it can make its path, it can edit its path, it can turn itself, it can align itself with the floor, and it can make itself go forward and do all those things. And it can pass functions for its children to the world. So that's what the vehicle needs to be able to do. Now the turret script and the machine gun script, I'm still working at getting those going. We'll do the machine gun script first for the people who really just want to see the function of getting the gun to be able to point up and down. And we'll get that part out of the way because, yeah, I don't want to be hard on people's time. So we've given, both turrets have a maximum and minimum. Both turrets work the same way. The targeting, and if it has a target, is all pretty much the same. The home function is the same, except it works on both X and Y. Get direction, it's still in its longer form here because it's going to do both X and Y. So it needs to know if it's looking at X or Y and sort that out. Then for the actual rotation up and down, that's it. It's exactly the same as Y, except it needs a clamp. So it's clamped to, it's given a secondary variable to store the math in so that it can be clamped within this range. And then the clamped variable is applied to rotation degrees. So it acts all the same, except if it gets too big, it will be reduced to the maximum, or if it gets too small, it will be increased to the minimum and never go past those numbers. So it's clamped. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If it has a target, it'll target on X and Y, or it will go home. And we've already done home. Other than that, some of the script is incorrect, and I'm still trying to resolve the scripts and how they should function together, because I'm having difficulty figuring out a vehicle with two guns, because that's something that I've just never done before. I've made a tank, I've made a Jeep with a machine gun, but I've never made a tank with a machine gun and a turret. So it's something new, and it's taking a little bit of sorting out to try to figure out. Maybe more complicated than it's worth, actually. So hopefully that explains the scripts fairly well. For the other changes, we have the turret receiving all of the signal and sorting out the targets. So I've just kind of made a way for it to sort targets where the large gun takes precedence. So it will pick the first target. If it's within its elevation, clamp, it will use that target, or it will pass it off to the machine gun, and the machine gun can check if it's within its elevation range. And if it is, it will take that target. And yeah, I haven't come up with anything further than that. So it would probably actually get stumped if there was a bunch of targets outside of his range. So that function and how they're picking their targets is still something that has to get worked out, because again, I've never done 3D, so I've never dealt with the idea of a target being outside of a gun's ability to shoot it. So that's going to take a little bit of thinking and figuring out too, but I'll figure it out sooner or later and show my solution when I do. And other than that, the turret is just doing a little bit extra sorting and organizing the target. So it's giving a target to the machine gun. That probably needs to be stopped. And another method should probably be implemented than the one that I'm using, but this is the first one that I figured out. So that's where my project is at. It's at a place where I've just started moving scripts into a positive direction, because the script has been going in a negative direction and it needed that overhaul to get it going in the right direction. Otherwise it was just going to become disastrous and something that needs to be abandoned. So hopefully that's enough explanation of the script. I think in the next video I'll probably do some map stuff, and I'm likely to spend the rest of the evening sorting out these two scripts and seeing if I can get them a little better. And I'd make a video doing that, but it's just too much to try to make a video and figure out script at the same time. If it was stuff that I already knew, then it wouldn't be an issue, but it's stuff I'm figuring out, and that gets a little uncomfortable trying to make a video of. So anyways, I hope this was helpful, and that's it for this video. Until the next video, take care.